Hi, I'm Diane Kometa, and today on Dishin' with Di, I'm making homemade marshmallows. They're really easy, light, fluffy, and delicious, perfect with hot chocolate, or if you want to give them as a gift. So I'm going to show you how to do it right now on Dishin' with Di. You need some granulated sugar, some light corn syrup, some gelatin, vanilla extract, powdered sugar, water, and salt. You're also going to need a baking sheet that you line with parchment paper, and then you're just going to spray that with some nonstick spray and take some of the confectioner's sugar and kind of sift that on there just so you cover it, and you're basically doing this so that nothing sticks to it. You're also going to need some non-stick cooking spray that you're going to use additionally to spray some of your tools as we go through the recipe. Now, if you haven't used corn syrup before, it comes in a bottle like this. I'm not recommending a brand, but this is the brand I have, and it's clear like this. There's also dark corn syrup, so you don't want that. You want the one that's in the lighter color like this. And then gelatin, you're not using Jell-O, although maybe you could, but you're using the regular gelatin. It's usually in a box like this. They might even sell it in like a little container, but this is what it looks like, and there's little packets inside. So I've dumped out my packets. In fact, I need one more packet here, and they're 1/4 ounce packets. So I have 3 of those. That's 3/4 of an ounce. Now, the first thing, oh, one more thing, sorry. You need a candy thermometer too. Now, if you don't have a candy thermometer, you can pick one up at your local grocery store, usually, and where they have the utilities and stuff, and it might be a few dollars, but if you can't do that, we'll try to work around that with just the way things look throughout the recipe, okay? Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is take the gelatin, and I'm going to put that into my mixer. So, obviously, I forgot to tell you, you need a mixer, either a stand mixer or a hand mixer, but preferably a stand mixer for this because there's a lot of mixing time. So put that into your bowl with half of the water. So I have a cup of water here, so we're going to put half of that into here. And just give that a little whisk around. And you're just going to let that sit there. Now we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to get the rest of the recipe started. Okay, I have a 2-quart saucepan there heating over medium heat. I'm adding in the water, the granulated sugar, the salt, and the corn syrup. And now you're going to take a whisk or a spoon and you're just going to combine that. You see it's very thick. You just want to dissolve that granulated sugar, and it gets kind of liquefied when that happens. And here you go, see? It's like water now. Now, once that is combined and that's dissolved, get rid of your whisk and your spoon. You're not going to use that anymore. So put that away, and then if you have your candy thermometer, just clip that on the outside. Don't let it touch the bottom though. And now we're going to try to get this up to 240 degrees. So now we got a little bit of bubbling there, and now it's starting to simmer. It's a little foamy looking on the top. And then the next stage is the rolling boil. Now, here we go. This is the beginning of the rolling boil. And now we're at a full rolling boil. You see it's more clear and there's lots of bubbling at the top. And from here to the 240 degree mark, I think it was about 5 minutes. It's nice and clear. And here you go. This is 240 degrees. And then I took it off the stove, and that's what it looks like. Extremely hot. And now it's ready to go into that gelatin mixture. Okay, that's what the gelatin looks like after it's been sitting. And now I'm going to turn my mixer on low, and I'm going to slowly pour this in down the side of the bowl. So if you have a hand mixer, you're just going to turn your mixer on and you're just going to pour this in slowly. Be very careful because this is like scalding hot. So just gradually down the side. Just be very careful. You don't want to turn this up because if this splashes on you, you will get burned. And it's very sticky as well, so it's not skin friendly. All right, now that that's in there, I'm just going to gradually turn this up. Now, if you have a hand mixer, you want to be very careful of any kind of splashing. And I want to gradually work this up to high. And once I get it up to high, I'm going to let this mix for approximately 13 minutes is what it took me the last time I did it. So if you have a hand mixer, it might take you a little bit longer. Okay, I just wanted you to see that I'm doing this. I almost forgot about this. The last time I used this, I never used this thing, but I used it because it does splash up a little bit. So if you have a guard for your stand mixer, put it on and it kind of shields you. I always hate these things. It'll shield you a little bit from any splashing. If you have the hand mixer, I heard of a woman who actually put the bowl into a paper bag and cut a hole in the bag and stuck her hand in there and just, stood there and let it whisk that way so that any splashing isn't going to, affect you or the surrounding area. So now I'm going to turn this back up. Okay, now this has been actually about 14 minutes and I just want you to see, I'm just going to take this guy off. And just want you to see what it looks like. It's very thick, and I'm just going to give it a couple more spins so you can see what it looks like in there, and then we're going to add the vanilla extract in. Okay, so you see it looks almost like that marshmallow fluff, and now with the mixer on low, I'm just going to pour in my vanilla extract. Turn that up and combine that well for about 30 seconds to a minute. And you can see it's a little messy. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but just have like a wet cloth ready for you. And then you could also add in some peppermint extract if you want for the holidays. Now, I did a batch earlier and I did that with vanilla, and I was gonna do these with peppermint, but I thought, I'm not sure everybody would like that. It depends what they're gonna be using it for, because I'm gonna be giving these out as gifts with some of my hot chocolate. Okay, so I think this is about ready. It should be well mixed now. Okay, so just get this off of here. All right, now I have my prepared pan and I have a spatula, and I'm just gonna spray this, 1 second, with some non-stick spray because I don't want it to stick everywhere. And I'm just gonna pour this into my pan. Let's try to get it in there as evenly as possible. Doesn't that look beautiful? Delicious. Can smell the vanilla. Okay, now you just want to spread this out. Try to do it as evenly as possible, and this is why I like to grease my spatula a little bit. And it's going to stick no matter what, but let's try to keep it off of there and in here where it's supposed to be. Just spread it all out. Now, if you don't have parchment paper, you could lay down some plastic, or you could just use nothing at all. Or you could use foil too, but if you don't have any of those things on hand, just make sure that you grease it well and you put that confectioner's sugar down. It's also called powdered sugar or icing sugar. I mix a little bit of cornstarch in with mine sometimes too, because that kind of helps it stay a little bit more slippery, I guess. It just prevents it from sticking. Then I'm going to take some of the confectioner's sugar and I'm going to sprinkle this on top. Now you just want to let this sit out until it cools off, and then you could cover it up with some foil or plastic wrap until it completely cools. Now, or till it sets. So that's going to take at least, I would say, 6 hours. I like to let mine sit overnight, but I do cover it up. Now, I just so happen to have the one that I did yesterday. Now, here's the one that I did. I did it in a smaller pan. Okay, now I already sampled some, but I already did this earlier, but I'm just showing you. Just take a knife and just run it around the edge And it really shouldn't be sticking, but it might stick at the very top. So just run a knife right around the edge of the whole thing. And then have a cutting board or, you know, something that you're going to cut this on. And just sprinkle some confectioner sugar on that. And then you're going to take this out. Should just lift right out. And put it on there. I am going to cut these in, you know, pretty big pieces straight across. You don't want to saw it because it's going to tend to stick. So I'm just going to cut it down, and I have a pizza cutter here. I could try that out too, but I find just working with the knife is just fine. And just go down. And if it starts to get a little sticky, then you just stop and wipe your knife off. Now, as you cut them, they're going to be sticky everywhere except, you know, where there was the confectioner sugar. So then have another little container with some confectioner sugar in it, and just take it and you could just roll them in it, okay, and leave them in there. And then when you're all done, just, you know, set them on either a nice plate. You can kind of shake them off a little bit if there's too much on there, or you could put them into an airtight container and keep them. I've heard people keep them for 3 months, but I wouldn't really keep them more than like 3 weeks. Now I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them into nice decorative bags along with some of my hot chocolate mix and like a little mug. And I'm going to give that out to, you know, people that I know and to my little nieces so that they have like a little project to do with their mom. They can make the hot chocolate and then put the marshmallows inside of it. So these are great for that, or for really any time of year you could, you know, make the marshmallows. And you could also do them in different shapes. If you wanted to use a cookie cutter with this, these are kind of thick for that, but with the ones that I'm going to be having set up in that lower tin that we did earlier, those would be better for using a cookie cutter. So you could also add some food coloring in there to make them different colors. So there's a lot of different options for you, but it's really nice. And let me show you how nice and gooey they are. They're so much better than what you're going to buy. They're so light and airy, and they don't even have any eggs in them. So they're so much better than what you can get at the supermarket. So it's so easy, and it's a really nice and special gift to give someone. They're not going to believe that you actually made your own marshmallows. Like, who does that? You do. I did. So to get the full recipe, go to my website, dishinwithdi.com, and I'll also leave the link for my hot chocolate. That's a really great combination with this. So I hope that you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope I made your life a little easier, more enjoyable, and delicious. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.